Yo, it's your boy TTK. We're back with covering Pokemon Elite Redux for today as part 4 of our Fakemons Analysis series, where we go over so many Fakemons and how well they do in a competitive setting. Today's video, some people wanted me to do Elite Redux, some people wanted me to do Pokemon Clover, but we are going to be looking at Elite Redux because, yeah, some of these guys are really broken, and you know, we're just going to be covering them for today. So if you guys do enjoy this video, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025 and all that good stuff. Now, the unique thing about Pokemon Redux is that what do you call it, each Pokemon has 4 abilities. You have your main ability, and then you have 3 innate abilities, which are basically like passive abilities that you know, are always active basically. So that makes this like so many Pokemon be changed, so many, like, you know, you can have 3 passive abilities basically, and I found that really cool because I was just like, some of these Pokemon get a lot more broken, even older Pokemon, some of the new Pokemon that they made as well. But either way, let's get into the first Pokemon that we're going to be talking about now. Alright, so the first Pokemon we're going to be talking about is Mega Garchomp Redux here, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, this was one of the reasons why I wanted to have the video in the first place, because I was just like, there's no way they actually made a Pokemon like this, bro. Like, this is an insane mon. Like, even let's look at his ability first, because we're always going to look at the stats, abilities, move pool, and why I say this mon is broken. So 700 base stat total, basically like regular Garchomp, but obviously this is going to be a Redux Mega Evolution, so it's going to have some special stuff going for it. But yeah, Haunting Frenzy, let's see what that does. I'm on their Pokedex website here, which is quite nice interface here, so that's why I want to use it as well in conjunction with Pokemon Showdown. But Haunting Frenzy, 20% chance to flinch. Like, this is like King's Rock, but double the chance basically. So imagine the fact that you have like something that can hit multiple times. For example, you're just increasing the flinch chance. I'm just like, well, this thing also has 140 speed, so I'm just like, yeah, this is a very strong combination. And then also, apart from the flinch, in fact, you also get a +1 speed upon a KO, and I'm just like, wow. So you'll just keep boosting yourself, and it's insane, to be honest. Like, who thought this was a good idea? But obviously, like, this is a really strong ability. If it was in the actual Pokemon games, this is 2 abilities in one basically. Like, this is like Grim Neigh to a certain extent, but for speed, and then you also just have a passive chance of flinching. So yeah, that's the main ability of Mega Redux Garchomp here. Then let's look at the innate abilities, the abilities that are always going to be on whenever this Pokemon's on the field. You have Keen Edge, which is basically a lesser version of Sharpness. You get a 30% boost instead of a 50%. You also have Hyper Aggressive, which does really work well with your ability because it moves hit twice, and the second hit does 25% damage. So yeah, really strong here, not gonna lie. Hyper Aggressive, you just hit. It's Parental Bond, and I think yeah, it's basically Parental Bond, because Parental Bond used to be 50% on the second hit, but now it got nerfed in Gen 7. So it's basically Parental Bond. And note the fact that I said this mon has a 20% chance to flinch the opponent with every attack it has. So yeah, that's a really fun thing. You're hitting twice, and then you're just like, well, am I gonna hit the Garchomp or am I not gonna hit the Garchomp? Is pretty mad, I can't lie. Then the third one is Soul Eater, not the anime, but the actual you know, ability here. Dealing a KO heals 25% of the max HP. Not 1/8, not 1/16, not 1/32 of your HP, a quarter, 25%. That's, you might as well have just given it a regenerator at that point. Like, 25% is insane, and this mon isn't even that frail. 100, 105 in both defenses is quite insane. So either way, let's look at some of the moves that we have going for it. Like, the nice thing is that these guys don't really have that many moves to really look at least for the not returning Pokemon, because this is all they're gonna get. But obviously older Pokemon are gonna have access to hidden power and every single move they've ever had. But yeah, let's look at the moves it has. It's a water ghost type. I even forgot to mention the type, and it is a water ghost type, so it's no longer a dragon. So obviously we're going to be looking at different stab options here. So it has Aqua Jet for, you know, priority, not like it needs it. It has 140 speed, and then also gets a speed boost on every kill. It does not need the priority. It has Dragon Dance as set up. It also has Swords Dance as a setting up option as well to double that attack stat. In terms of stab options, it does have it has Last Respects. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. That's a very fun move to have, I'm not gonna lie. That actually just changes the set that I was even gonna show you guys. But yeah, Last Respect's pretty crazy, not gonna lie, very incredibly crazy. You also have I'm pretty sure it gets Poltergeist as well. I don't really see it here unless I'm just blind, but on the sim it did show Poltergeist as one of its moves. So, you know, you have pretty solid Ghost Stab in that option. And then in terms of your physical options on the water type side, you have Liquidation, Wave Crash, Triple Dive, which hits 3 times, but I think they've nerfed Triple Dive's damage for some reason, I don't know why. And then you also have Aqua Cutter, which is pretty good in terms of what do you call it, your ability of Keen Edge, which is boosting that by 1.3. So if you want something stronger than Liquidation, but not Wave Crash, because you know, you don't want to take recoil damage, that's a pretty solid move to have. So yeah, it's pretty much 100% just an offensive Pokemon. There's not really anything else you're going to be using this thing for. Either set up a Swords Dance, kill something, get a speed boost, or, you know, outspeed something already with a Dragon Dance, which, to be fair, Swords Dance is like objectively the better setup move to run, because you don't need that speed boost rather than missing out on an extra 50% boost to your attack stat. But either way, let's look at the move set that I came up with here for Mega Garchomp Redux here. Now, the sim told me Poltergeist, Aqua Cutter. I don't know if there's some discrepancies between the Pokedex website and the actual simulator. Regardless, it's still going to be running the same things that I've stated that is going to be running. But yeah, even there are some moves that have been buffed as well. You know, you see Aqua Tail with 95 base power. There's so many changes I could discuss when it comes to this game. It would be like multiple hours. So obviously I'll say things that are relevant when they're relevant. But yeah, I put Dragon Dance here, but realistically this should just be Swords Dance anyway. Maybe they didn't give it Last Respects anymore, I really don't know, but I'm just going off of what Showdown was showing me, and also you know, what I have here. So yeah, just Wave Crash there, or Aqua Cutter if you don't want to take recoil, because that ends up being stronger than Liquidation. So yeah, this is pretty much what Mega Garchomp Redux is going to be running. Max attack, max speed. Realistically, you could go Adamant Nature. I don't know if you really need to outspeed anything. As you can see, there's a lot of Pokemon here. But in terms of the speed tiers, you're pretty aight. I'm not going to lie, 140, you're pretty aight in that regard. So you could actually afford to just go in Adamant Nature, get like 2 speed boosts from killing something. And yeah, you have a really fun ability that flinches. So yeah, overall, Mega Garchomp Redux would be a disgusting Pokemon in real life, you know, if this one was actually existing. And then, oh, I forgot to mention Sacred Sword as well, you know, boosted by Keen Edge. And there's your way of hitting Dark types, because you're a Ghost type. But yeah, Mega Garchomp Redux are a pretty powerful Pokemon we have here. Alright, up next we have Mega Mawile Redux as well, another Mega Evolution from this. Very interesting Mawile version that we got here for ourselves. Dark Ghost typing, and is a pretty interesting take on Mawile. Usually other Mawile like fan-made evolution from other fan games like Insurgents pretty much just kept the same stats and made it a slow attacker. But instead this one is a fast attacker with very strong options in its move pool. Now let's go over the abilities. The most important thing when it comes to Elite Redux, its main ability, Dead Power. Now as you can see, 50% attack boost just for no reason. Like, it's huge power but just less. Like, and you get that. Secondary effect of that ability, because there's always going to have to be a caveat to these things. 20% chance to curse on contact moves. Now, in terms of what it means by curse, you know the move curse, like literally this move, if you're not a ghost type, it boosts your attack and defense and lowers your speed. And if you are a ghost type, it halves your HP and then takes 25% damage each turn on the opponent. It gets that when it has a chance of using its contact moves, which most of them are physical. So you know, you have a pretty good shot there. So yeah, so 50% boost already off of 105 attack, cannot go wrong whatsoever. And then in terms of boosting its damage even more, obviously you have Strong Jaw, which boosts you know, power of biting moves by 50%. Seems to be 30% on here. Again, another boost to its physical contact moves. And then you have Multi-Headed, which hits as many times as it has heads. And how many heads does this thing have? 1, 2, 3. So it's hitting 3 times every time. It has a 50% boost to its attack. There's a 20% chance of cursing you. And then you have biting moves being increased by 30 or 50%. Then you have Shadow Tag. Like, it just keeps adding on and on and on. And it's so crazy. But in terms of the moves that it has access to, it has Cheap Shot, which is an interesting move. 120 base power, 100% accuracy, literally no drawback at all. Like, you just get that as a Dark Stab. Also gets Knockoff as well. So you know, you have two really solid dark stabs. In terms of ghost stabs, there's a new move called Shadow Fangs. If you don't want to use Poltergeist, Shadow Fangs is basically the physical version of Shadow Ball. You have 80 base power, 100% accuracy, yeah, all of that good stuff. Also boosted by Strong Jaw, so you're going to be running that. It also has priority in Shadow Sneak, which is here, and then Sucker Punch is here. Yeah, so you have two solid, like, Ghost Dark has always been pretty fun, even though its inability to hit Dark type Pokemon. You know, you have access to another move which is going to help you out with that, which is Play Rough, which Play Rough, you know, we all know how Play Rough works, 90 base power. So being able to hit dark types, you know, with your coverage options is also pretty good as well. But yeah, this Pokemon, if I was to say what tier it would be in, like, you have to take the fact that I can't really equate this to Smogon tiering at this point, because every single Pokemon has 4 abilities at a time, and I'm just like, that's pretty much unprecedented. So it's very hard to gauge how strong they are. They're obviously very strong Pokemon in their own right, and obviously they have their own meta game, which I'm showing you on the Pokemon Showdown here. But yeah, this is the set that I found. I was running Shadow Sneak if you wanted priority. Like 115 isn't the slowest, but if you do need some priority, you have Shadow Sneak or Sucker Punch to use. It also has a move here called Lovely Bite, which was not on here, unless I'm just blind as hell. But you know, I don't think it was here. But yeah, this is a 70 base power attack. It's definitely just worse than Play Rough. I didn't even see Play Rough, so there's no reason to run that move. But yeah, this is pretty much what's gonna go. Another setup sweeper with SD. You know, I love my setup sweepers with SD. And even things like let's say Strength here. Like, so many moves just got changed around. Like, Strength is now 100 base power rock type attack, which you know, is basically like CC, drops your defense and special defense. But yeah, this is a very fun Pokemon for sure. Not the strongest we're going to be going over yet, but this is just the level of Pokemon that Elite Redux even has, you know, to show us, basically. So yeah, moving on to number 3. Alright guys, up next we got Hydreigon Redux here, and yeah, this is another strong Pokemon. The first one we're going to be covering that's actually designated in Elite Redux Ubers. So it's been banned from the Elite Redux OU metagame. And, you know, it's not very obvious straight away why this one could be banned. But as you can see, Multi-Headed has reared its head around again. So obviously, with Hydreigon's 3 heads, I don't know if these count as heads, to be honest. I hope not. But, you know, 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming it's going to be attacking 3 times consecutively. So, yeah, obviously, we're going to be getting into a lot more of why this one potentially could have gone banned. But Dragon Fairy typing, really solid. Same attack, special attack stat as Hydreigon. Basically has all of Hydreigon's stats in terms of, I think its defenses are slightly buffed, its HP slightly buffed. And then, obviously, it got taken away from its speed, which obviously could be an issue. But at the same time, it's not an issue because of what I'm going to get into right away. But either way, main ability, you have Mega Launcher, Serene Grace, but on the Showdown, I think Serene Grace is actually Pixelate. So, you know, Pixelate is another really strong ability. But Mega Launcher is the main one, you know, the main culprit here. Cute Charm is, you know, whatever. And then its innate abilities, Celestial Blessing. Now, this sounds like a cold name, I can't lie. Recovers 1/12 of its health under Misty Terrain. You also have Misty Surge, and it lasts 8 turns. So Misty Surge getting a massive buff here in terms of how the ability works. Instead of lasting for 5 turns, it now lasts for 8 turns, which is pretty solid. And then Celestial Blessing is going to be healing 1/12 of your HP every turn is under Misty Terrain. So yeah, that's a really strong thing to have here. In terms of his move pool, obviously he has access to Mega Launcher, so you want to be focusing on moves like Dragon Pulse. And, you know, Mega Launcher got boosted as well, got buffed as well. You have Beam moves, which are included, Pump moves that are included, Cannon Shot, Gun, and Pulse moves are all included on the Mega Launcher now. So say this thing had Hydro Pump or Ice Beam, you know, Mirror Shot, I think that's the only shot move I can think of, Mud Shot, you know, all of those get boosted on the Mega Launcher now. So obviously it's boosting its damage is going to be really high. Dragon Pulse gets boosted. You also have access to on the sim, it'll show me Flare Cannon. So oh yeah, it's right here. Again, I'm so blind, I don't get it. But yeah, Flare Cannon, really strong move, gets boosted by Mega Launcher thanks to the cannon option here. But you're not going to be going Flare Cannon because that drops your special attack stat, and I'm not too sure if Multi-Headed is going to take into account every single, you know, drop that Flare Cannon is going to do to you. So you're going to be wanting to use Pixie Beam here. 85 accuracy, 110 base power, not the worst. It made... Oh, wait. Yeah. So Pixie Beam is going to be your best option here. Dragon Pulse, and then... In terms of other moves, you do get access to Nasty Plot as well, so it gets to boost its special attack, which is actually pretty solid. And then you have Aura Sphere as well, which is gotten boosted to 85 base power now that I'm noticing, and obviously gets boosted by Mega Launcher, so you have a way of beating Steel type Pokemon. But yeah, despite his loss in speed, Hydreigon Redux is pretty dangerous Pokemon in terms of, how many times it's going to hit you 3 times. It's going to hit you a 30% boost thanks to Mega Launcher. And then you also have Nasty Plot to take into consideration. So yeah, this one is pretty dangerous. In terms of the sets that I saw, you have the Mega Launcher set with Pixie Beam, Nasty Plot, Dragon Pulse, and Aura Sphere. I think this is pretty much all you need. You can hit poison type Pokemon thanks to your Dragon Stab, because Fighting and Fairy is obviously ruled by poison types. But yeah, so this is the Mega Launcher set, but like I said, it gets Pixelate on here as well, so we have to take that into account. And Swift has been changed, which is actually pretty funny as well. It's now a specially based extreme speed, coming in at 65 base power, and obviously with Pixelate, this is gonna buff it to 1.1 times, which again, I can't be bothered to do the maths on that, but it gets higher than 65. I think it's around... My brain is hurting me, like 68 maybe, I'm not too sure. And then obviously you could probably go like a really bulky set here, because you have a move that does +2 priority, and then just settle with Nasty Plot, have Roost to recover your HP. And Dragon Fairy is a pretty solid type in anyway, defensively, so Hydreigon Redux is gonna have a pretty good time. But yeah, this is a pretty... I can understand why they banned it from OU here, because like pretty much every Pokemon Gen 1 to Gen 8 is here. But the fact that you're getting banned just goes to show how strong you really are. And yeah, this one would be completely ridiculous. Obviously, Celestial Blessing plus Misty Surge combination means this one is never really going to die because you're recovering a 12th of your HP. Again, the 12th isn't actually that much now that I think about it. Like, 1 over 12 is like, like it's about 6%, like 8%, so it's actually not that much healing, but it's still something you have to take into account. But yeah, Hydreigon Redux, pretty solid Pokemon for sure. Alright, our 4th Pokemon here, we got Reuniclus Redux here, Water Fire typing, and I think this is definitely one of my favorite designs out of the Redux Pokemon that I've seen. I'm not gonna lie, I'm vibing with this design heavily. You have 2 Reunicluses, which are water and fire together, and it's a pretty good concept of a design. I think it's based around like just water and fire like all together, and they're combining, because obviously you can look at these abilities here. You see Water Absorb, which gives it water immunity. You can see Flash Fire, which also gives it a fire immunity, because it's basically just water and fire together. So in terms of the main ability, Water Absorb is probably what you want to have, just because of the fact that Water Fire doesn't actually resist water, like Water Fire ×4 resists fire, so you might as well just have that onto you. But in terms of your innate abilities, you got Water Bubble, which we all know how that works. Araquanid has made that work to quite well a good effect this generation. Harsh Fire damage, no burns, double power of its water moves. That's an innate ability, by the way, so this thing is going to be doing that. You have Flaming Soul, which at full HP you have priority on fire type attacks, which is pretty solid coming off of this thing's 115 special attack stat. And then you have Catastrophe, which is probably the funniest ability here. You have sun boosting water type moves, and you have rain boosting fire type moves. So you're basically like Walking Wake. Walking Wake walked, so Reuniclus Redux could run. If this Pokemon came out before Gen 9, I apologize, but I had to make that one work, innit? So take that into account. But yeah, this basically does what Walking Wake did, like Hydro Steam doing more damage in the sun, for example. Hydro Steam still obviously does damage in the rain as well, but let's see the moves that has access to Reuniclus Redux here. We have Steam Eruption, really strong attack here. It now has 100% accuracy instead of 95% accuracy. You also have Eruption, you have Overheat, you have a lot of really strong fire type attacks like Flamethrower and Fire Blast, of course. You have I saw on the thing as well, you have access to Trick Room. So that means with its low speed, it could actually set up Trick Room under the weather and just start doing a lot of damage. Now, obviously, Catastrophe means that, you know, it can click both of its stabs regardless of weather, to be fair. You can click water moves and sun and do damage, and you can click fire type moves and sun and do damage, and vice versa as well. So yeah, it's a really funny Pokemon to have. Only issue I can see with it personally, from at least the move pool side, is its inability to hit dragon type Pokemon. But obviously, if you want to cover that, you have Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Dragon, because Hidden Power is legal on these guys, so you can actually aim at dragon type Pokemon. Now, in terms of the sets that I came up with, like I said, 4 attacker here. This one, oh, it has its own signature move here, I think. Is it the signature move? I want to double check this information, but yeah, only a few Pokemon actually get Super Hot Flame. But yeah, Super Hot Flame deals increased damage in rain. So again, this is like a Hydro Steam, but a fire type version. It also has access to Hydro Steam. So, you know, during Sun is not going to actually be halved, and the same applies to Super Hot Flame as well. This is not going to be halved in rain. Catastrophe is going to boost that damage, you know, as well by 50% because of what rain and weather do. And then Hidden Power Dragon to hit dragon types. Hidden Power is now 70 base power, so that's pretty good for it. And then what do you call it? Yeah, that's it. I did have a Trick Room set as well if you don't really care about the inability to target dragon type Pokemon. But yeah, Energy Ball's here to help you hit opposing water types as well. So yeah, the thing does have the somewhat coverage issues, but I think the design and, you know, the overall strength of the ability really like ups Reuniclus Redux for me, for sure. Definitely one of my favorite forms from this game. Up next, we got Mega Shedinja here, and you know Shedinja gets love when Ninjas doesn't even have one on this game. But yeah, Shedinja is always the guy, so, you know, this is a very fun Pokemon. How do you make a Mega Evolution for a Mon that was born to be terrible due to its broken ability? Now, it only has 376 base stat total. It's not a base stat monster by any means, but obviously it matters where it goes into. Obviously, Shedinja has 1 HP, and but this time it has 120 attack and 110 speed, which is not bad. You know, Gen 9 standards, that's not bad. Ogerpon has 120 attack and 110 speed, so Shedinja is actually in a pretty good position here. 70 special attack, not gonna lie, I would have just dropped the special attack completely. This thing is not a special attacker. Definitely could have probably equalized the attack and speed, but again, I'm not here to, you know, criticize the design choices here. I'm just like, that 70 special attack is going to waste. You know, I'm always thinking with a competitive mindset in it. But yeah, this is a Shedinja, so obviously you know what Shedinja does. That 1 HP final gambit, it'll do a lot of damage for sure. But yeah, Shedinja, obviously due to its 1 HP, it pretty much does, you know, but obviously Mega Shedinja has to help out Shedinja in general. So what does it have to help it out with in terms of its innate abilities? Now, innate abilities, Tinted Lens, we all know how Tinted Lens works. Very helpful, especially for Bug Stab, which has 7 types that resist it. So making sure that your Bug type moves are always doing damage is always nice. You have Magic Guard, which again, we're Mon with 1 HP, no Sandstorm chip, no Toxic chip, no Spikes chip. Very helpful to have. Magic Guard is definitely one of the best abilities to have on Shedinja, so, you know, indirect damage won't do any damage to you. And then you have Dead Power as well. We saw that on the Mega Mawile Redux, which boosts your attack by 50%. So obviously that 120 attack is still pretty good, but getting a 50% boost is very good. And then Cheating Death, which is probably the most important ability that Shedinja has here, is gets no damage for the first 2 hits. So you hit this thing twice, it won't die. You hit it for a 3rd time, it dies. So yeah, very solid ability. Just being invulnerable to 2 attacks is basically a better disguise. Disguise basically ran Gen 7 VGC, so obviously that's going to be very helpful in terms of Shedinja's viability in the Elite Redux metagame. But yeah, in terms of anything else it has some interesting new moves, I guess. Whirling Spikes, Strikes, I mean, not anything too important, but yeah, it's just a typical Shedinja here. But it's just really cool how it has abilities that really help it out, so it's not really dead weight on the team, and it gives you an opportunity to actually use Shedinja in the first place. You have an ability that gives you 2 free hits for free, so you don't die instantly. You have Magic Guard, which means that you know, you're not taking damage from Toxic or, you know, Sandstorm. And then you have Dead Power and Tinted Lens, which are just helpful for dealing damage at the same time. But yeah, obviously the issue is this thing has to hold the Mega Stone, and then obviously you have to watch out for hazards, you know, because you're not able to run heavy duty boots. But I think Shedinja does get some other stuff that can help it out in terms of before it Mega Evolves. So it has Wonder Guard, which obviously that's his main ability. And then, to be fair, it doesn't really get anything to help it pre-Mega Evolution, but, you know, that's fine. But yeah, let's look at the sets that I thought of running on Mega Shedinja here. We got Shedinjite here, Shedinjite, yeah, Cheating Death. This is realistically the only thing I could think of, to be honest with you guys. It's not a Pokemon. It has 45 defense, 30 speed. The defenses don't matter if you have 1 HP. Why am I even talking about the defenses? But yeah, max attack, max speed, SD, Leech Life, Poltergeist, Shadow Sneak. Really strong options here because obviously Tinted Lens is one of your innate abilities. And yeah, this is all it really needs. It does have some other interesting moves as well. Extreme Speed, which is new to its move pool. And yeah, I think that's the only relevant attack that it has that is worth talking about. Regular Shedinja doesn't get Leech Life, but at the end of the day, you're not healing anything back because you have 1 HP. So X-Scissor versus Leech Life doesn't really matter, realistically. Leech Life is just cooler though, so, you know, take that into account. But yeah, Mega Shedinja, I can see this thing being in OU. Again, it has 2 free hits for no reason, plus Tinted Lens. So, you know, what can I say? There are a lot of Pokemon that can transfer resist bug though, but it doesn't really matter when you have Poltergeist as a stab. So, you know, this is a very dangerous Pokemon to have. Alright, number 6 on our list here, we got Azelf Redux here. And, you know, this is an alternate form of Azelf, which pretty much is a better, you know, upgrade to Azelf in every single way. It has a Dark Fairy typing and higher offenses and higher speed. Now, Azelf isn't really a slow Pokemon, nor was it a weak Pokemon per se. It had 115 attack and special attack. It also had 115 speed. To my knowledge, I think that's what Azelf had, I think. But yeah, now it's 120 speed and 113 the offenses. And it has 3 really solid abilities. It has Comatose, which, you know, we all know how Comatose is. You know, you're immune to all status and are considered to be sleeping. You have Magic Guard, which, again, Magic Guard's one of the best abilities of all time. Then you have the Soul Eater that we saw on Mega Garchomp Redux, which can heal your HP by 25% on each KO. Honestly, I think Magic Guard is the most useful ability here, just for an offensive Pokemon like Azelf. Doesn't really need Comatose because, you know, look at this bulk. His bulk doesn't exist. But yeah, Magic Guard, Life Orb, really solid combination, of course. And then your innate abilities, you have Levitate, which obviously what Azelf does. Ups, owns, flying. Okay, that's what Levitate does. Okay, so obviously you get immune to ground type moves, immune to spikes, immune to toxic spikes, all that good stuff. And then obviously you get a boost to your flying type moves by 25%. Another buff to an already existing ability. You have Dark Aura, which, you know, evolves to signature ability. It boosts your dark type moves by 33%, and it is quite helpful because you're a dark type. And then you have an interesting new ability here called Malicious. It lowers the foe's highest attack and defense stat. Now, obviously, if you're facing a special ward, then you're going to be lowering the special defense of that Pokemon, and considering your special attacker, this is going to do a lot of damage. And then, you know, facing other Pokemon, you're going to be taking a lot less damage. Even though your bulk is still horrendous, you know, taking less damage is never bad. Now, let's see what moves we have. Night Days got changed a little bit. It's now a priority move, which, you know, I think they've made a priority move for every single type in Elite Redux. So Night Days seems to be the priority move for dark type attackers. It is on the special side here. We also have Cheap Shot, which we saw on... who did we see that on? Mega Mawile Redux. We also have Parting Shot, Sucker Punch. Another move called Banished Power, which, you know, deals damage and raises the user's highest attack or defense by 1 stage. Really strong ability to have. It's basically like mystical power, which the Lake Trio also had access to, but obviously it seems like they have Banished Power. Wicked Blow, very strong ability, and Fiery Wrath. I did not see this on the sim. Again, there's some discrepancies there, but some of these are really strong to have. Star Crash is very strong to have as a fairy type option to hit other dark type Pokemon. You have Mystic Dance, which is the special version of Dragon Dance, which boosts your special attack and speed. And then you also have on the special side Dark Pulse and Draining Kiss, Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Swords Dance to boost your attack stat as well, which is not too bad. Again, some of these options were not on the sim, but in terms of the set that I came up with for Azelf, I had two. We have the Magic Guard Life Orb set with Nasty Plot, which doubles your special attack. Dark Pulse, Fire Blast, Hidden Power, Steel, because you have no way of hitting, you know, Fairy type Pokemon, so you're going to have that option. And then we have the physical set, Offensive Attacker set with Knockoff, Play Rough. This could also be Black Magic as well, but Knockoff is, again, is one of the freest moves in the game, so why not run Knockoff? Play Rough to hit opposing Dark types, Sucker Punch as priority. This could also function as a pretty decent Scarfer. Anything with U-turn, I will Scarf immediately. It's just how it is. You know, some of the other options like that were on here. Oops, wrong page. We have, what do you call it? We had, you know, SD. We had Knockoff. Again, like all of those moves. Banished Power is very interesting though. Again, is that even here? Nah, it's not even on here. It's a shame though that some of this isn't implemented in. It would have made my video a lot easier, but you know, what can you do? But either way, Azelf Redux is even considered a UU level Pokemon in the Elite Redux metagame, which just goes to show that even though something with stats like this and potential setup options and ability synergy with Magic Guard and Life Orb, this ain't even one of the big dogs. But you know, I saw it. I saw the design was pretty cool for Azelf. Azelf is my favorite of the Lake Trio, and you know, got a pretty sizable buff. The defensive typing is better, definitely for sure. Not being weak to Sucker Punch in you know, a King Gambit infested metagame is pretty fun, but at the same time, you know, you're now weak to fighting rather than being strong against it. So there's pros and cons, but generally Dark is more is greater defensively than Psychic. But yeah, overall Azelf Redux is a pretty solid Pokemon, I must say. Alright guys, we moved on to our second Ubers level Pokemon from Elite Redux, which we have in Mega Lapras now. Now Mega Lapras, as you can see by his main ability here, it has Liquid Voice, which we all know how Liquid Voice works, but it's a pretty worse version of Pixelate. But Elite Redux noticed that Liquid Voice was a pretty underwhelming ability and managed to change it around. Sound moves now get a 20% boost, which is pretty solid. Again, this was an ability that originally just changed sound-based moves to water type attacks and had no boost whatsoever, but now getting a 20% boost is pretty solid. And then obviously changes the move to a water type move if they're normal type attack. So yeah, that's a pretty solid thing. And obviously this thing gets access to Boom Burst, which is here at level 51. So yeah, having Stab Boom Burst, can't complain. With an additional 20% boost, again, can't complain. And then its innate abilities are just helping its bulk in general. Like again, Lapras wasn't a Pokemon known for its massive damage output, but it was known for its massive bulk, especially in the older generations thanks to its high HP stat. But now it has the defenses to keep up, and those are the abilities. All of its innate abilities help its bulk out. So Ice Scales, half special moves, does not double the special defense. Thank you very much. Shell Armor, which makes you immune to critical hits. Again, this was one of Lapras's original abilities. And now you take 20% attack, 20% damage from all attacks. Pretty massive buff for Shell Armor, I'm not gonna lie. It just makes things a lot bulkier on the physical and special side. And then you have Ice Scales, half in special defense. Like, how do you break past this Pokemon exactly? That's the real question. You're half in all special moves, and then you're taking 25% less damage, or 20% less damage overall. Like, I can see why they banned this, because how do you beat this? How do you break this on the special side? And then you have Self-Sufficient here, which recovers a 16th of your max HP at the end of every turn. So you just get leftovers for free. Like, without, obviously you have to give up your item slot when it comes to Mega Evolving, but having you know, ability that is just leftovers is pretty solid. So overall, what moves does Lapras have access to? Again, wasn't a beacon of offensive damage, but now with a pretty good special attack stat plus an ability that boosts your sound-based moves, what does Lapras do? Now it has Boom Burst, so obviously you're going to be wanting to run Boom Burst. It has Vicious Rend, but it has a lower attack stat, so you're not going to be running that, plus it's 50 base speed. If you want to go Trick Room, be my guest, but this is a special attacker first and foremost. You have Freeze Dry, but Freeze Dry has been replaced by Sheer Cold. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I mentioning Sheer Cold? That's an Oko move. Oko moves aren't allowed. But Elite Redux has gotten rid of Oko moves and repurposed them for, you know, use outside of Oko and things. But yeah, Sheer Cold, 100 base power now, 80% accuracy. it now is super effective on water type Pokemon all the time, and there's a 20% chance of Frostbite. Not Freeze, Frostbite. Elite Redux also changed Freeze from being an annoying status condition for what it was in Legends Arceus, obviously. Frostbite halving your special attack stat, like burn half your attack stat, in addition to doing, you know, 6% damage every single turn, like burn does. So yeah, Freeze and Frostbite are now, you know, they've been changed around, and obviously Sheer Cold is not Oko move anymore. So you don't need Freeze Dry, you have Sheer Cold to hit opposing water type Pokemon for super effective damage. You have Hyper Voice again, but Boom Burst. You also have Lapras's Move Pool, Whirlpool, Perish Song. Everything that Lapras has done, it's able to use in its Mega Evolution. So things like T-Bolt, Whirlpool, Perish Song sets, Dragon Dance. Again, this is a 50 base speed mon, so you're not going to be doing that. But yeah, pretty solid stuff here for Mega Lapras. In terms of its move pool that I ran here, Boom Burst, T-Bolt, Sheer Cold. I think this is realistically all it needs. A shame Sheer Cold super effective against water types, but you know, you're not. But oh yeah, I forgot Boom Burst is your water stab now. I was gonna say you're missing out on a water type move, but you're not, because Boom Burst has been changed to a water type move via Liquid Voice. But yeah, Heal Bell, it has its Cleric start, it has Flip Turn too. I think it got that in Gen 9. You know, but yeah, overall Lapras is going to be a bulky mon again. Obviously you can't run boots, but at the same time I'll just lean into its offenses and the fact that obviously it can't be broken on the special side. Basically you have Ice Skills, halving special moves, plus Shell Armor. So yeah, Mega Lapras is a very bulky Pokemon that does a lot of damage, and again I can see why it's banned from Elite Redux OU, because yeah, this mon is pretty much unkillable on the special side. Alright, our 8th Pokemon we're going to be talking about is Iron Exo here, and this is pretty much a future Paradox form of Sizzle, it seems like. It seems to have gotten the Mega Sizzle design, sort of. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting take on the Paradox Sizzle here for sure. It's now a special attacker, which has 140 special attack and special defense, so it's quite bulky on the special side. Very strong special attacker with a Ghost Electric typing, and has some pretty useful abilities under its hands. Now it has Terra Volt, which is the signature ability of Zekrom, obviously, but of course they've added some extra stuff where it adds an electric type into itself, which, you know, is already Ghost Electric, so this is being considered as adding a second, you know, electric typing onto you. So that means you're doubling up on your ground weakness, which may or may not be useful for you, but obviously has some better abilities to run here, like Volt Rush, which gives you a priority at full HP to all your electric moves, which would be very useful to have in terms of you're coming in at full HP, and you know, you come in and you want to click like T-Bolt straight away. But the one that's more important here is Dual Wield here, which allows Mega Launcher moves and Keen Edge moves to hit twice for 70% damage on the second hit. Now obviously it has some pulse moves here. It's not really using anything on Keen Edge. It has no attack stat after all, but in terms, it gets Armor Cannon, it gets Moongeist Beam, again not on the sim, and then we have I think it had the Aura Sphere as well, which is also on the Pokemon Showdown as well. So yeah, it has options to use on its dual wield inside, and you know, it's a very strong attacker there. But looking at his innate abilities, you have Artillery, which makes sure that your Mega Launcher attacks never miss. Not the single target doesn't really matter in terms of single battles, obviously. You have Exploit Weakness, which moves are 25% stronger on foes afflicted with a status condition. A bit situational, but quite solid as well. You basically have like Hex and an ability, basically. Then you have Quark Drive, which obviously activates whenever you use the booster energy. So this one can run booster energy, get a, you know, Quark Drive boost to its special attack, and then it can really do a lot of damage, especially with dual wield, allowing it to attack twice basically. But yeah, other than that, 590 base stat total, pretty much like Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, all of the bigger Paradox Pokemon. Ghost Electric typing, quite good defensively as well. Only 3 weaknesses, 5 immunities, and no, 5 resist and 2 immunities, so not too bad. In terms of the set here, obviously he's going to be running boost energy. It seems to have a signature move called Raging Souls. Again, I should probably stop saying signature before I actually double check these things. You know, only a few Pokemon actually end up getting this attack, but it's basically a ghost type Draco Meteor, 130 base power, 100 accuracy, You know, Draco is 90% accuracy, but I think they just upped everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You have Armor Cannon, which is, you know, Armorugi's signature move, does a lot of damage. Aura Sphere to hit dark types, of course, and then you have T-Bolt as your electric stab. But yeah, this is going to boost your thing. You get to 379, same as Iron Moth, same as, you know, any other Pokemon 140 base special attack. Probably just go modest, to be honest. You have the same exact speed as as Raging Bolt, so you might as well just LARP as it. And then, yeah, this is the moves that I was thinking you run on it. Obviously, on the website, you know, showing Moon Guy's Beam and stuff, but I'm going to be going off of the Pokemon Showdown thing just because I know this is going to get more updates than the actual website. Maybe the website is outdated, who knows. But yeah, this is definitely up to date. It has Nasty Plot as well, so if you do want to go on the boosting side, potentially just drop this Armor Cannon and then just go for Nasty Plot, Raging Souls, Aura Sphere, and T-Bolt. Ghost Fighting hits everything. T-Bolt is your additional stab. What can go wrong, you know? But yeah, Iron Exo, very strong Pokemon. Will definitely be an OU level Pokemon for sure, especially if you're taking into account that it would have access to like Raging Souls, for example. So yeah, very strong Pokemon here. Alright, our 9th Pokemon we're discussing today is Escargonite Redux. Now, Escargonite Redux, a custom-made Pokemon, an evolution of Macargo, which, to be fair, Macargo definitely needed an evolution, but yeah, it's a more grassier version. This is the Redux form. It does have its own original form, Escargonite, but we're looking at the better version because this is a grass rock type, which you don't see pretty often anyway. So yeah, Shell Armor again making its appearance, like we saw with Mega Lapras, immune to crits, and you're taking 20% less damage from all attacks. You also have another ability called Loose Rocks, which, you know, hits like, it's like toxic debris basically. Like, you get hit and Stealth Rocks are put up. Now obviously Stealth Rocks only activate once, so this ability is only going to activate once anyway, but that's not important because again, this Pokemon gets rocks anyway, so you can just end up going Shell Armor. And then it has Power Core as its hidden ability. This Pokemon uses plus 20% of its defense or special defense during moves. I think it depends on if you're using a special attack or physical attack. I'm not too sure. Again, some of the stuff is vague, so I'm just really just going off of what it tells me verbatim, word for word, you know. But in terms of its innate abilities, again, we've seen Overcoat, 20% damage reduction on the special side, and seeing how this thing only has 70 special defense compared to its 150 defense stat, it really needs that because it actually does have 100 HP, which is pretty decent. It has Harvest, which we all know how Harvest works, and then it has Impenetrable, which means it's only attacked by attacks, won't take hazard damage, won't take toxic damage, won't take leech seed damage, even though it's immune to leech seed. It can only get hit by things to die. So yeah, pretty solid defensive Pokemon here. In terms of what it has access to, it is like a Macargo basically, so it does have Recover. You're not going to see it here, but it does have Recover. It has what the hell is Soil Drain? Is that just a ground Giga Drain? Interesting. Anyway, it has Jungle Healing. Not too sure if it has that anymore. I didn't see that on the sim, but yeah, it does have Rocks. It does have Shell Smash. You know, Shell Smash is here, and Shell Smash is my favorite starter move in the game, so you know, even though this thing has 30 speed, I'm Shell Smashing with this, I don't care. But yeah, let's look at the sets that I came up with. Like I said, I don't care if it has 30 speed, I'm running Shell Smash under all circumstances. You do have some strong stabs in Leaf Storm and Power Gem. Particularly Power Gem got buffed from 80 to 90 base power, so you actually have a pretty strong special attacking rock type option. Leaf Storm is gonna obviously half your special attack after using it, but you also have Apple Acid if you don't want to be using Leaf Storm, enough power to make sure you're hitting those pesky steel type Pokemon for super effective damage. But yeah, this is a pretty solid sweeper. Again, it's not fast by any means, so this is not going to be his main set. It's probably going to lean more into his bulky sets, which it does have access to, you know, Recover and Toxic. I did say it gets Stealth Rocks. Was I just capping? Because I didn't obviously fit Stealth Rock into the move pool. But yeah, it does have Stealth Rocks. So if you do want to get out some hazard, you have Loose Rocks. But at the same time, you could also just use, you know, a Stealth Rocker in general if you guys want to have that. And yeah, Escargonite Redux. I do like the design. Green is my favorite color, so you can't really go wrong with that. I do think it looks pretty cool. Shout out to whoever designed this Pokemon. But yeah, Escargonite Redux is considered OU level. When you don't have a fire rock typing and you actually get grass rock instead, you're pretty well off, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Alright guys, now that I covered all of the Redux Pokemon I wanted to cover, like all of their custom Pokemon, we're going to be looking at some of the older Pokemon, the already existing canon Pokemon that were changed or have some buffs given to them in Elite Redux, because every single Pokemon got changed, regardless if you're Bulbasaur, regardless if you're Shuckle, regardless if you're freaking Arceus. And speaking of Arceus, that's what we're going to start off with now. A lot of these everything got buffed, so you know, let's see what some of these OG Pokemon have going for them in Elite Redux. Now Arceus is locked to multi-type obviously, but considering the fact that everything does have 3 innate abilities, Arceus is going to have innate abilities as well. Now this one is exclusive to Arceus normal, the OG Arceus, the only one that can actually run an item. You have innate power, I said innate power, you have mystic power as an innate ability, which grants stabs on all of its moves. Do you know how strong this makes E-Killer now? Which is insane. Like E-Killer, all E-Killer has to do now, go Truffle Berry, obviously, go SD Extreme Speed, and then just run Shadow Claw and you get stab on that, which has also been buffed to 80 base power. So yeah, this is ridiculous. Like E-Killer gets stronger for no reason, which is pretty funny. Obviously, like E-Killer would probably run like 136 speed or any E-Killer Uber spread. Just imagine it hitting some max HP, max attack. But regardless, yeah, having Mystic Power getting stab on Shadow Claw is very big, because when you consider all of Arceus's best checks, E-Killer's best checks, Giratina Origin, you know, will take their Shadow Claw obviously and then just burn it with Will-O-Wisp. You have Marshadow, which outspeeds you, but obviously Arceus has been prepping for that since Gen 7. Just run the Truffle Berry and Marshadow doesn't actually kill you. And then yeah, nah, this is really funny, and it's the only Arceus form that has access to Mystic Power. The rest all just get Levitate and Pressure as innate abilities, and they all have Power Core as well, which adds 20% of your defense stat into your attacking stat as well, so when you're using moves. And Arceus doesn't really have a lower attack stat, defense stat by any means. So yeah, this is a really strong Pokemon. In terms of non-legendary Pokemon that have been buffed and are actually too strong for the Elite Redux standard play, you have Cerulege here. Now Cerulege, you know, this is a pretty respectable Pokemon on its own anyway. I'm on that's UU level, but see now it has speed boost now and sweeping edge, which you have to decide which one you want to run obviously, but you know, sweeping edge is not really useful anyway because it's a more of a doubles based ability, but you're going to be running speed boost here. And in terms of your innate abilities, you have Moxie, which alongside speed boost is going to just keep boosting your attack and defense together. You have dual wield, which we saw on who did we see dual wield on again? I forgot, my brain. We saw it on someone. Dual wield, which obviously the slicing moves are going to be taken into account. And then you have battle armor, which basically works the exact same as shell armor, reducing your damage by 20% and also your inability of getting critted. But yeah, no sharpness, but all it needs is speed boost. So yes, Cerulege, all Cerulege is gonna have to do now, Bitter Blade, CC, no CC? Where's CC? Where the hell is CC? I guess they got rid of CC because it was too broken anyway. Let's see what other coverage. It has Sacred Sword. Again, not the worst option, but you don't really get a sharpness or keen edge boost anyway. And then you have access to... They also got rid of Poltergeist for it. I guess they did not want to make Cerulege even more broken, but it didn't work because you gave them one speed boost. So what can I say? So it doesn't even need the priority anymore. You can just go like Shadow Claw for the stab. Shadow Claw is actually a respectable move now, so 80 base power will do you pretty well. You could obviously just go the focus slash item, but at this point you could go anything because you have speed boost, so you're not going to be revenge killed anymore. And then yeah, this is all Cerulege is going to do now, and I can see why it's in Ubers now, because speed boost is a faster Blaziken with a higher attack stat in addition to, you know, a stronger stab combination of Shadow Claw plus Bitter Blade. So yeah, pretty strong Pokemon. Another one that really surprised me was Fione here. Fione now being an Uber's Pokemon, but it has gotten buffed overall. It got 100 extra stats because it's gone up from 80 in all stats to 100 in all stats. And let's look at the abilities that it has access to. Now it has Purifying Waters and Friend Guard, and Purifying Waters combines Hydration and Water Veil. In terms of that, actually, there might have been some extra changes to these abilities that I'm unaware of. So let's actually look at Fiona here. So hydration, purifying waters, water veil. So water veil prevents you from being burned, and then hydration heals you in the... Where does it heal you again? In the rain. Almost forgot that. Its innate abilities are Sea Guardian, raises highest stats if switched in during rain, and obviously your highest stat is going to be speed if you're being an offensive attacker. Field Explorer, field-based moves are boosted by 50%. What are these field-based moves? We'll never find out. And then you have High Tide. Triggers 50 BP surf after using a water-type move. So yeah, that's actually pretty stupid. I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, I'll just go Water Bubble. I'm not gonna lie. You get that ×2 boost to your water damage coming off of 100 attack. If a Araquanid can do a lot of special damage with 50 base special attack, just imagine Fiona's 100 base special attack, or even physical attack as well. After using a water-type move, you obviously just get access to a 50 BP surf after using that move as well. So yeah, very strong attacker Fiona has now become now. It's actually a respectable Pokemon now. So, you know, what moves does it actually have access to now? Doesn't seem like they've added in things like Take Heart, for example. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I guess not. I guess not. But yeah, you have access to Surf. So you just hit in Surf twice. Basically, you have Surf coming in at 90 base power, then you get 50 base power Surf after that. No setup moves, but I don't think it really needs any at this point. It's just doing too much damage anyway, especially if you're under rain. So it's just gonna typically run what Manaphy ran in any gen before Gen 9, and obviously without the Tail Glow as well. Surf, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Grass most likely, or Grass Snort, depends on which one you want. And then you obviously have access to like Hidden Power. You get T-Bolt now. Ooh, you get T-Bolt now. Very interesting. You get Power Gem. So yeah, I'll just go T. Nah, you have a way of hitting dragons. Yeah, so just go like this, and then yeah, this one is very strong now. So yeah, that's why it's Uber's level. Exploud, one that I want to talk about as well, because Exploud is one of my favorite Pokemon. Well, that's kind of cap. It's one of my favorite mons from Gen 3 and one of my favorite mons to use in competitive. You have Punk Rock, which you're taking half damage from sound moves, and then I think they added that in extra. I'm not even too sure if that's how Punk Rock's initial implementation even was in terms of toxicity, but now you have 30% boost to your sound-based moves. You have access to Scrappy as your innate ability, and to be fair, Exploud and Scrappy go hand in hand. You can't have Exploud without Scrappy. You have Loud Bang, which is this Pokemon sound-based moves has a 50% chance to confuse. Very broken, I'm not gonna lie. Just being able to confuse, and then you have a 33% chance of you know, hitting yourself in confusion. Very, very powerful. And then you obviously have Amplifier here, which, you know, originated from Pokemon Insurgents, but a lot of people have taken Amplifier now and brought it into their own fan games. You now have you have an additional 30% boost to your sound-based moves. So yeah, you have a 30% boost plus another 30% boost. And then yeah, that's altogether that comes to like a 96% boost, I believe, because 1.3 squared. So yeah, you just get wait, my maths is so off. You get a 69% boost. I'm tweaking. Long day. But yeah, you have access to Boom Burst. I don't think you get any other sound-based moves. You get Disarming Voice, which is actually quite a respectable attack now. But yeah, it's just a typical Exploud move. A move pool, Surf, Focus Blast, Fire Blast or Overheat. Yeah, this is basically typical Exploud affairs. But yeah, it's got itself to Ubers because it just does too much damage, obviously. You have nothing that resists normal, so you either have to rely on Rock or Steel types. And then even then, Exploud has coverage to hit those. And how many Rock or Steel types even want to be taking Boom Burst in the first place? So, you know, you have to take that into account. And especially with these increased stats, Exploud gained the extra 40 special attack, it gained the extra 30 HP, and it also gained the extra 21 speed, going off of my remembering of Exploud's, you know, stat spread. But yeah, this is a very powerful Pokemon, and I can see why it's in Ubers. And the final Pokemon we'll be discussing in today's video is another broken Pokemon, but got even more broken. We have Chien-Pao here. Now, Chien-Pao obviously has access to its original stat spread of 135 base speed and 120 attack, but now Sword of Ruin is an innate ability now, so obviously you're dropping the defense stats of all Pokemon by 25%. You have Arctic Fur, which stops you from taking damage by 35%. And Chien-Pao is not a frail Pokemon by any means, at least not on the physical side. So the fact that you just get a blanket 35% damage reduction, pretty insane if you ask me. And then you get Strong Jaw, so it makes up for the fact that Chien-Pao doesn't have access to knockoff, for example. So Crunch is now getting boosted by Strong Jaw, which is really strong. It's in the name. But yeah, hyper aggressive, you get Unaware, which is kind of strong, but at the same time, just go hyper aggressive. You have that plus Sword of Ruin, so obviously you're just going to be wall breaking things quite effectively. You have access to all of Chien-Pao's moves like Brick Break, Sucker Punch, Sacred Sword. You get Secret Sword now, but it's not like Chien-Pao is a special attacker, so that's going to do no damage. But you know, Glacier Crash hits all other mega. This is basically stronger than Icicle Crash. I guess if you want to drop the flinch chance, I've cheesed many people monotype when Chien-Pao was legal with Icicle Crash, but this is just if you want maximum damage. Hyper aggressive is going to have you know, the second hit does 25% damage, you know, so you take that into account. In terms of that, you have SD and you have Sacred Sword, so yeah, typical Chien-Pao affairs. And yeah, this one is very, very strong indeed. But yeah, that is going to be it for discussing Pokemon Elite Redux. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. The next Fakemons analysis video is going to be going over Pokemon Clover. I had a fun time covering these guys. There's a lot of Pokemon to cover, but if you guys want to see a part 2 in terms of discussing Elite Redux or want to see some other Redux competitive content, let me know and I will do it. I always deliver. The kingdom is a democracy. I ask my people what they want to see and I deliver on that. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.